Just before World War I, the 19th century was a period of economic modernization and growing national unity. But it was also a century of political turmoil, public dissatisfaction, and military embarrassment. France was one of the main participants in the outbreak and fighting of World War I. In fact, France was one of the main Allied powers alongside Britain and Russia. As well, much of the fighting along the trenches of the Western Front occurred in northern France. As such, World War I was important as not only a military conflict, but it also affected French society. While the war occurred mostly in Europe, it ultimately became a global war due to the involvement of various countries around the globe. At the outbreak of World War I in 1914, France had one of the largest empires in the world with much colonies. Many of these colonies sent soldiers to the battles of World War I, which made the First World War a truly global war. For its part, French soldiers were present in many of the major battles of the Western Front of World War I. World War I erupted during the summer of 1914 in an event that historians refer to as the July Crisis. In short, this crisis was caused by the assassination of Austrian Archduke Franz Ferdinand, which led to the major European powers engaging in a conflict. France was pulled into the crisis due to its alliance with Britain and Russia, which was called the Triple Entente. During the war, France along with its allies faced off against Central Powers, which including Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Bulgaria. Officially, World War I started on July 28, 1914, when Austria-Hungary declared war on Serbia. German troops were ready to invade France through Belgium with the plan of attack known as the Schlieffen Plan. In fact, Germany formally declared war on August 1st against France, Belgium, and Russia. In response, France mobilized its forces and ready for war with Germany. Finally, Austria-Hungary declared war on Russia on August 6, in retaliation for its support of Serbia. France formally entered World War I on August 11 when it declared war against Austria-Hungary. With that, World War I had begun and Europe was divided. France's economy after World War I was ruined. The loss of manpower of production and also the wreck of agricultural land both an increased need for imports from the other countries. The state spent a huge amount of money to get medical care for the millions of wounded that had survived the war. The war against Germany at the Western Front was fought mainly in France, which caused a drop in the economy. France experienced a dramatic decrease in manpower. Infrastructure and agriculture were likewise damaged due to the bombardments and trench warfare. These all contributed to the heavy decline in the economy. France received the worst blowout of all the powers. With a population of 40 million, 500,000 died and 700,000 were disabled. Nearly every family has lost at least one member of the family. After the Treaty of Versailles was signed, it was agreed that Germany should take full responsibility for the war and therefore had to pay reparations to France. Alsace-Lorraine was returned to France and all German troops were removed from Rhineland, the land on both sides of the Rhine River, which ran in between Germany and France. France limited to the German military, which caused strong hate from Germany to arise, which later became a contributing factor to World War II. French foreign policy in the 1960s seemed unique because it was dominated by the anachronistic ideals of Charles de Gaulle. Edward L. Morse argues that in fact, the foreign policies of all highly modernized states are so similar that they can be described and explained by a general theory of interdependence. He uses France as a case study for his theory, and shows that what makes French foreign policy in this period so fascinating is the way in which the behavior of the president brought into the sharp focus the problems interdependence possess for nation-states. Mortar and artillery bombardments destroyed many houses and villages. They also destroyed wine orchards and agricultural areas, which caused damage economically. Because much of the war was fought in France, there were many discarded shells and mines underneath the ground, which had to be dug up and disarmed before the land could be used. The politics of France take place with the framework of a semi-presidential system determined by the French Constitution of the French Fifth Republic. The nation declares itself to be an indivisible, secular, democratic, and social republic. The Constitution provides for the separation of powers and proclaims France's attachments to the rights of man and the principles of national sovereignty as defined by the Declaration of 1789. The economy of France is a highly developed social market economy with notable state participation in strategic sectors. It is the world's seventh largest economy by nominal GDP and the 10th largest economy by PPP, constituting around 4% of world GDP. Science and technology in France has long history dating back to the Académie des Sciences, founded by Louis XIV in 1666 at the suggestion of Jean-Baptiste Colbert. To encourage and protect the spirit of French scientific research, France's achievements in science and technology have been significant throughout the past centuries as France's economic growth and industrialization process was slow and steady along 18th and 19th century. Research and development efforts form an integral part of the country's economy. Scientific research in the country is supported by industry, by the network of French universities, and by higher education establishments outside the main framework grandes écoles. France was ranked 12th in the Global Innovation Index in 2022, up from 16th in 2019.